Alrighty guys, welcome back to the next logging tutorial series here. So in this episode we're going to be covering the yarder, and we're also going to be going over the operation of the fuel truck. Now I have a pre-set up yarder here ready to go just to save us some time, but I wanted to show you kind of the basic operation of it and its purpose. So the purpose of a yarder is to bring wood from a long distance back to the logging site if it's really hard to get to via skidder, if it's too steep. There's lots of different applications and reasons why you'd want to use a yarder. So in real life, what they like to use these for is bringing them up and down hills that are too steep for most equipment to climb. So this one's a little different, obviously, than real life. There's a little bit of stuff you got to learn about them and how they work. So I wanted to show you guys kind of the operation of one that I just bought, and then I'll show you of one that's actually set up. So on this machine, you have the ability to control the tilt of the line. So basically what you'll want to do is set up an actual distance with the line, an area where you want to drag to. In this case we have one set up, so I'll show you kind of how that works. So you can control the up and down movement of the line. You control the movement of the carts, front and back, both carts. And I'll explain the difference between the two carts when we go look at the other one. You also have the swing back and forth. These are really slow movements because once you get long distances you don't want to make very fast movements. You'll notice these operate a little slower than the other machinery. Okay, so I'm going to actually sell this one because we don't actually need this one now. And we'll go here. So after you figure out the controls and how it works, what you'll want to do is pick an area where you have a line, a straight line. I've already gone and pre-knocked down a bunch of timber here for us, so that should make life a little bit easier. So what I've done is, this isn't necessarily a hard terrain to work with, but I've set it up so that we have a bunch of bunches. I came through here with a buncher, knocked these down into some nice even piles like you see here. What I've done is that line has been stretched out all the way to the end, so it's into the bushes over there, and this will be our skyline. So now the purpose of the yarder is to hook onto these logs and bring them up to, or at least halfway up off the ground so that we can drag them back to the landing over there. And I will show you how that works. So inside this machine you can hit C to switch from cameras. So there's a cart camera for this one, which is a red camera, or a red cart. This one you can actually use to hook onto the logs. So you'll want to position this right above whichever pile of logs that you actually want to pick up. Now there's another camera that I've added on to something called the support cart. This one's also controlled. It moves very fast because it has to cover a long distance, and I know a lot of people don't want to sit and wait for it to go all the way out. So this basically acts as a teeter-totter holder so it doesn't make the machine bounce around. So what you'll want to do is pin this against a wall somewhere, out wherever it is. You don't have to actually push it against the wall, but keep it kind of on the ground touching. After you go back to your machine, if you push E, you actually get out of the cart because it's easier to hook up your loads that way. So we're going to hook on all of these logs right here. Hook these on here. So there you got your nice load. So now you want to make sure that support car that we sent way out there is sitting in a good position, because if you don't have it in a good position, what will happen is this whole machine will tip and go down. It needs that support beam sitting there to help carry the weight of the logs when you pull them up. So once you're back in your machine, you can switch to this cart view so you can actually watch what's going on. If you hit B on your keyboard, activates the winch, and then holding Z will actually bring that up, bring the logs up to the cart. If you hold shift, it'll actually hurry it up a little bit so you can bring it up. Now you want to bring it up not all the way, you want to bring it up kind of like about here is probably good. And then at whatever speed you're comfortable with, you can start to bring these back towards the machine. So the faster you go, the more crazy the logs will act because the physics are not 100% in the real world here. So slowly bring these back to the actual site where you want them. You can switch to first person view so you can see the actual logs coming back. Or third person, either one works just fine. And then once you find the logs in a good position, we're just going to drop them over here. You can either hit X to drop the whole load, and then shift B to unlock the load. So now we get out of our cart. We've now dropped the logs here. We brought them from point A, which was over there, to point B over here. So now you can do this on any type of terrain, any distance, anywhere that you feel necessary to do that. It's a pretty straightforward process. moving them around. As long as you keep the fact that that car is always out here as a support, and like I said, you can retract that, move it around, you know, change positions while in this view. Like I said, I like to put it on top of mountains sometimes, just if you need a cart. I realize this isn't 100% realistic to real machinery, but it's the best we can do for the time being. So try to keep it, you don't have to get it like right above, you can put it like right above the ground, like right about there. Because if you push it really far into the ground, it kind of glitches under the ground. So you want to keep it above right about here. That way when you actually connect the trees up to the line, then you can actually pull them up and bring them back to your base properly while keeping that support. Now one thing you want to keep in mind is you don't want too high of a skyline off the ground. You want to keep it about midway point of this building. If you try to hook them up when it's really high, the logs kind of fly around. That's just a physics issue that can't quite be corrected right now. So make sure your skyline is kind of at an even distance between the 2 points. You don't want it, you know, 100 feet in the air, because then the logs will not connect properly. But yeah, basically that's the purpose of a yarder, and you can use it on different types of hilly terrains or anywhere you really feel like. So they use those in real life. Some of them have claws on them, some of them have lines on them, but they're really cool way to move wood around, and really effective if you have a really bad terrain that you can't get regular equipment in. So yeah, that basically covers the yarder. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask, but that one should be kind of fun for you guys to play around with for sure. Now this guy, this is the fuel truck. So this is basically just a truck with a fuel canister in the back. It also has a trailer hitch, so you can hook onto any kind of trailers. It's built to work with stock equipment in the game as well. So if we start this guy up, you can take it to any of the fuel points on my map, which these are the fuel points on most of my maps now. On the older ones there was gas stations. This is the new fuel points. So you can actually bring this up next to it, and you'll see a fuel icon. You can't see that on my screen, but it's in the bottom right hand corner. If you hit R, it'll fill the tank up on the back to 2,000 liters, so that'll fill it right back up. Then all you got to do is, if you have a piece of equipment in the bush, you just drive out to that piece of equipment. In this case we're going to go to the yarder because it's nice and close here. We're also close to an actual gas station as well. I left that on here for people who prefer the gas station method on this one. Once you're next to the actual machine itself, you usually have to be within a pretty close distance of the machine. Once you're in it, all you have to do is hit R, and it will pull from this tank. It'll pull from the tank on the fuel truck itself and bring that amount down. So yeah, basically that's all there is to fueling. Really easy. R is the fuel key, and that's the only one that really matters. Make sure you go to a place like this or a place like that with a fuel tank. Fill that tank up all the way and bring it out to the bush to fuel up all your machines. Very simple, easy to drive, easy to move around. It goes just about anywhere, so it should make life pretty easy for you guys. Anyway, that basically covers the operation of these two vehicles. If you guys, like I said, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below in the video. And yeah, we'll see you on the next instructional video. Thanks, bye.